Good afternoon, YouTube. I am Oggy F. This is Rage, and this is Mumbai. Welcome to my channel. Okay, so it's been a while since I recorded one of these videos, and a lot of you have been asking me about performance details about the KTM RC390, about comfort levels and any changes which I've made to the motorcycle as well. And hopefully this video will help answer your questions either directly or indirectly. The main purpose for doing this video is I was challenged by a Bigbang Biker who rides a Mahindra Mojo 300, and he's challenged me to say 10 things that I like about the KTM RC390. Now again, just like the video I did on 10 things I dislike about my KTM RC390, these are probably going to be specific to my motorcycle itself, maybe not every single KTM RC390 out there. So please understand the purpose of this video first before you go ahead and comment or ask for any details about the video. Along with the 10 things I like about the KTM RC390, what you are also going to understand is why I picked the KTM RC390 over the Ninja 300 from Kawasaki and the Yamaha R3, which was launched earlier this year or late last year, I'm not really sure. Anyway, without any further delay, here goes. Okay, so point number one is the looks, and I think that's something which is subjective, but to me, I like the way the KTM RC390 looks. Now that's not saying that I like it more in terms of looks than the Ninja 300 or the R3. I think both of those bikes are brilliant looking bikes as well. But I mean, I saw this picture the other day which said that if you park it in your garage and you don't have a second look when you're walking away, you probably bought the wrong bike. And I can't remember a single occasion when I've not had a second glance at the motorcycle after I've parked it. So to me, the looks on the motorcycle matter. It's why I love faired motorcycles, and it's why I love the RC390. Apart from the aesthetics, I think the DRLs are something which really make the bike stand out, whether it's in the daytime or on the night, but it really makes the bike stand out. And there's a whole lot of other bits and pieces which really make this bike unique when you look at any other motorcycle in the segment. Okay, the second reason I love the KTM RC390, and the reason I picked it, is for the performance. Now, I know there's a lot that goes into that word performance, but for me it's purely how fast the motorcycle can go, and I'll talk about the handling a bit later, but we're mainly talking about the speed you can achieve with this bike. Of course, on our roads, and especially in India, the way the roads are built over here, and considering the amount of obstacles you could come across as well when riding on the street, and even on the highways for that matter, I don't think it's safe to test any motorcycle to its limits unless you've got a Navi or something. But yeah, it's not really safe to push any motorcycle to its limits unless you're skilled enough to handle those speeds. But it's like that saying goes, the best weapons are the ones that don't have to be fired. And when you pull up in the parking lot, people know how much power you've got in that engine. So yeah, performance was the second thing I'm impressed about, and believe you me, this thing can perform. On our ride to Goa this year, I think I did it twice this year, I think the bike performed brilliantly well, and I really never had any issues with it. I know people talk about heating problems and whatnot, but I've never had any problems with it, touch wood. Okay, point number 3 is handling. Now, I was fortunate enough to own a Yamaha R3 before I bought this RC390, and my comparison of handling is purely based on what I was used to on the R3 and now what I'm used to on the RC390. Now, before I say anything about handling between the two bikes, let me just tell you that the R3 isn't really bad when it comes to handling. In fact, I'd probably go as far as saying that the R3 is maybe the best 150cc motorcycle out there, at least in terms of handling. The RC390 on the other hand is absolutely brilliant. I think on Amboli Ghat, this time around when I went to India Bike Week, I think this handled very, very well. In fact, there was no discomfort whatsoever at the end of that whole guard section, and you just point this thing in a direction and it goes. There's no extra effort required. Understand that I'm no extremely skilled rider as well, but this thing makes you look good. It really makes riding and cornering pretty effortless. So handling is another thing that really stood out for me in my decision of selecting the RC390. Okay, point number 4 is the fact that this bike comes with ABS as standard. Now, I'd always recommend that you buy a non-ABS bike first and learn to ride that, because you won't just know the limits of a motorcycle, but you know the limits of physics as well in certain situations, and that makes you a more sensible rider when you eventually upgrade to a ABS enabled motorcycle. Yeah, feel free to walk right through my video. Okay, where were we? Yeah, so the Kawasaki Ninja 300 and the Yamaha R3 both don't come with ABS even as an option here in India. So picking this motorcycle, especially considering the kind of speeds you'd be doing with a 300+cc motorcycle, was a pretty easy decision then. The moment I realized that the R3 came to India without ABS even as an option, that kind of sealed the deal for me, and I decided to go for the KTM RC390. Point number 5 was the tires that came with the RC390. Now, in comparison to the other bikes in this segment, the Ninja 300 comes with IRC tires, and the Yamaha R3 comes with MRF tires. The Metzeller's on this are far more superior than those tires. In fact, I have friends who ride both R3s and Ninja 300s who really complain about the grip available on those stock tires, and they eventually end up upgrading to better tires, probably Pirellis as well. Point number 6, and this is another one which kind of sealed the deal for me, is the headlights which come with the RC390. The headlights being projector headlights, I think it makes your riding experience at night a lot better, and especially on my ride to Goa, where we did have to do a lot of night riding, it made it a lot more easier and a lot more safer for me to be traveling at night because of how bright those lights are. And I'll just probably attach some kind of footage from my Goa ride which shows you how bright this made the road in front of me. Point number 7 is the display on this motorcycle. Now you have a whole lot of information which you'd have available over here. It could probably even tell you the winning numbers for the lottery next week as well. But it's not easy for me to go through all the options available here just in this one video. So I'd probably have to make a whole another video on it. Just understand that there's a lot of information: your fuel efficiency, your kilometers to the next service, safety information like whether your ABS is on, oil levels, so on and so forth. So you have a lot of information covered in that mini display over there, and it's pretty easy to operate as well, just purely by the amount of information you have available at your fingertips in comparison to the Ninja 300 and the Yamaha R3. Again, this made it an easier decision for me. Just then a crow shits on the bike. How nice. Okay, next up is point number 8, which is pillion comfort. Now, coming from a Yamaha R15, which probably has the hardest pillion seat out there, I think the number of complaints I got about the comfort levels for the pillion was relatively less on the RC390. Another added bonus in comparison to the R15 is that it actually has something which you can hold on to here below the seat and over here as well if required. So it's not the most comfortable motorcycle to sit on as a pillion, but when it comes to the options you have here in India, I think in this segment it's one of the more comfortable motorcycles to be on. I think the seat on the R3 is really small, on the Duke 390 is really small, and the Ninja 300 is kind of average. But I think overall the comfort levels on the RC390 for the pillion at least is a lot better. Of course, I'm single as f right now, but if there's ever going to be a pillion riding with me, at least that person will be comfortable. Okay, for the last 2 points, I'm going to talk about things which really mattered to me in terms of after sales service. Point number 9 is the cost of the spare parts and servicing. So when it comes to replacing any parts on this motorcycle, since KTMs are built in India by Bajaj, the cost of manufacturing and of buying these parts is a lot cheaper for the average Indian consumer. And that's again in comparison to what you'd have on the Yamaha R3 and the Ninja 300. Those things are freaking expensive if you drop them. So in the event of a crash, you're better off owning a KTM RC390 versus owning a Ninja 300 or a R3. This is a lot cheaper to maintain. Apart from that, again, the chain sprockets and stuff like that, and any other part for that matter, is readily available in India, whereas with a Kawasaki, you probably have to wait a few weeks before those parts get imported into India. And that means that you wouldn't get to ride your motorbike in the best condition for some time. That's not the best situation to be in, is it? And finally, point number 10, which is kind of related to point number 9, is the amount of service stations available. Now for me, a service center is available pretty much anywhere in Mumbai, and going by KTM's website in India, I think there's quite a few service centers around India, so it makes servicing your motorcycle a lot easier and repairing any parts a lot easier as well, in case you need to have that kind of work done. Versus previously, when I was with Yamaha, I think finding a service center was a little more difficult, and I know with Kawasaki's and with an R3 it's going to be hard, like I said, to find the parts required to be able to service your bike. So again, the availability of service centers was another decision which pushed me to buy a KTM, and that's reason number 10 why I love this motorcycle. Yep, so that's pretty much it for today's video. Again, if you agree with the points I've shared, go ahead and give the video a thumbs up. If you feel there's another point which you'd like to add, if you own a RC390, go ahead and mention that in the comments section. And if you have feedback about how this video was presented and recorded, and if you have some questions you want to ask me about the motorcycle, go ahead and mention that in the comments, and I'll try my best to respond to it as quickly as I can. Alright, thank you so much for watching today's video. Do hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and stay tuned, there's a lot more interesting stuff coming. Like I say in each and every of my videos, please, please, please wear your helmets while riding, and ride safe. It's a freaking jungle out there. Goodbye.